Does evolution disprove God? The four major origin questions are: 1. Where did our time, space, matter, energy universe come from? 2. Where did our finely tuned environment that can potentially support life come from? 3. Where did the first life come from? And 4. Where did the diversity of life on Earth come from? Evolution only purports to address the last question. Setting evolution aside for the moment, there are valid arguments for the first three origin questions pointing to the existence of God. First, where did our time, space, matter, energy universe come from? Most scientists agree that the evidence indicates the universe had a beginning called the Big Bang. If that's true, it means that time, space, matter, energy, and the natural laws that govern them did not exist prior to the Big Bang. This means the cause of the universe was outside of time, space, matter, energy, and natural laws, which by definition means the cause was supernatural or outside of nature. In other words, science supports the idea that the universe had a supernatural cause. A simple yet profound question worth asking is, if there is no God, why is there something instead of nothing? Second, where did a finely tuned environment that could potentially support life come from? Scientists have identified well over 100 life-enabling constants with very small margins for error that are present on Earth or in the universe that are necessary to sustain life. Examples include the Earth's oxygen level, atmospheric transparency, interaction with the moon, carbon dioxide level, water vapor level, crust thickness, rotation speed, and on and on. The odds of every necessary condition occurring simultaneously for any single planet is astronomical, no pun intended. A Christian astrophysicist named Hugh Ross calculated it as roughly 1 in 10 to the 138th power, which is more than the total number of atoms in the entire universe. Some prominent atheists and agnostics have also made statements to the effect that the Earth and universe at least give the appearance of being designed to support life. For example, Cambridge astrophysicist Fred Hoyle famously stated, "A common-sense interpretation of the facts suggests that a super-intellect has monkeyed with physics as well as chemistry and biology, and that there are no blind forces worthy of speaking about in nature." Likewise, the famous atheist author Christopher Hitchens, who won the Richard Dawkins Award for exemplary contributions to secularism and rationalism, stated on camera, "At some point, certainly, we are all asked which is the best argument you come up against from the other side. I think every one of us picks the fine-tuning one as the most intriguing. It's not a trivial argument. We all say that." Similarly, Cambridge physicist, author, and SETI chairman Paul Davies has said, "There is now broad agreement among physicists and cosmologists that the universe is in several respects fine-tuned for life. Rather, it is fine-tuned for the building blocks and environments that life requires." Some have argued that the many worlds theory, which is one interpretation of quantum mechanics, renders the fine-tuning argument moot, since there are potentially an infinite number of universes that are not finely tuned. However, the many worlds theory is under ongoing debate and is not based primarily on the scientific method, where one conducts measurable experiments to test hypotheses. In fact, some scientists consider it unfalsifiable and therefore unscientific, because the proposed parallel universes are defined in such a way that no information can be passed between them. Third, where did first life come from? The simplest form of life on Earth, a one-celled organism, is incredibly complex. It's like a factory full of delicate instrumentation, communication systems, transport systems, defense systems, production and assembly systems, quality control and repair systems, etc. On top of all this, the DNA message in every cell is equivalent to the complexity of 1,000 encyclopedias. The process by which first life is theorized to have arisen on Earth is chemical evolution, in which a fully functioning, self-replicating cell naturally developed through unguided chemical processes. However, life has never been observed to spontaneously arise from non-life, even in the most sophisticatedly idealized conditions contrived in laboratories by top scientists, much less in nature. And due to the cell's immense complexity, a growing number of scientists are acknowledging the enormous challenges this theory faces. The cell's breathtaking complexity has led some secular scientists to consider that an advanced alien race may have designed and seeded life on Earth. For example, biophysicist Francis Crick, who won the Nobel Prize for deciphering the helical structure of the DNA molecule, first proposed this idea in the 1960s. Since then, numerous papers and articles in publications such as Scientific American and the National Geographic have discussed this possibility. In 2008, the famous atheist and Oxford evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins stated, "It could be that at somewhere in the universe a civilization evolved to a very, very high level of technology and designed a form of life that they seeded onto perhaps this planet. It's possible that you might find evidence for that if you look at the detail of biochemistry, molecular biology. You might find a signature of some sort of designer." In 2013, various mainstream and scientific publications covered a paper in which scientists claimed to have found a signature just like the ones Dawkins mentioned. The paper's summary says, "The proposal that life might have been seeded intentionally cannot be ruled out. A statistically strong intelligent-like signal in the genetic code is then a testable consequence of such a scenario. Here we show that the terrestrial DNA code displays a thorough precision-type orderliness matching the criteria to be considered an informational signal. Simple arrangements of the DNA code reveal an ensemble of arithmetical and ideographical patterns of the same symbolic language. Accurate and systematic, these underlying patterns appear as a product of precision logic and non-trivial computing. The signal displays readily recognizable hallmarks of artificiality or design." Of course, these sources don't say anything about God, only aliens. But the point is that life on Earth gives the appearance of having been intelligently designed. Many secular scientists philosophically rule out a supernatural cause as impossible prior to examining any evidence. Richard Dawkins and Harvard evolutionary biologist Richard Lewontin, for example, have said as much outright, so that really leaves aliens as the only possibility they are able to consider. Some have argued that perhaps we just haven't discovered the answer yet, and when you begin explaining things you don't presently understand with "God did it," you move away from science and into religion. You resort to God of the gaps. It's a cop-out. However, in this case, we are talking about acknowledging positive evidence for intelligent design. This is not resorting to God of the gaps any more than the scientists I just mentioned are resorting to aliens of the gaps. Let's review what we've covered. The four major origin questions are: 1. Where did our time-space matter-energy universe come from? 2. Where did a finely tuned environment that can potentially support life come from? 3. Where did the first life come from? And 4. Where did the diversity of life on Earth come from? Regarding question 1, we learned that science supports the idea that the universe had a supernatural cause. Regarding question 2, we learned that the odds of every necessary condition to sustain life occurring simultaneously for any single planet is astronomical. Regarding question 3, we learned that the simplest form of life on Earth is incredibly complex, seems to defy chemical evolution explanations, and gives the appearance of having been intelligently designed, which has prompted some leading scientists to theorize alien seeding. Clearly, evolution does not disprove God, since it only purports to address the last question. But what about question 4? Has evolution fully explained the diversity of life on Earth? We'll address this question in part 2. If you'd like to learn more, you can check out my free book available at the link provided. Thanks for watching.